enjoy talking about our folks and what they do for the community. And I wanted to do a little something different today. Something you don't necessarily get to see very often, public presentation, but I thought this was a good topic. Talk about what we call less than lethal force options that we use in law enforcement. So right off the bat, I'm going to apologize because you'll hear me say less lethal. That's what we called it for 20-some years, maybe longer. And then somebody pointed out that means it could still be sort of lethal. So now we use the term less than lethal. So apologies in advance. Throughout the history of law enforcement, various tools have been used to take combative subjects into custody, as you might expect. Not everyone is cooperative about going to jail when they get in trouble. Between an officer's initial presence and verbalization and up to, prior to the use of deadly force, there exists a range of force options that we refer to as less than lethal force. These are force options designed to minimize injury to both suspects and officers and are generally non-lethal force deployments. So this is an old one. I wanted to talk about some of the earlier things officers had. So the concept of less than lethal force has been around throughout law enforcement history. Some options, such as batons, are still in use. Others, such as lead-filled saps, are not. This is a leather device filled with lead beads. It hurt really bad. Smack people with it. It hurts. And leaves a lot of injuries, which kind of goes against the whole thing. So here's one you guys are probably familiar with. We used to use this a lot, starting in the 70s or 80s. It was very popular for a while. This is pepper spray. So this contains a compound called oleoresin capsicum. It's derived from pepper. It's usually in a spray format. Sometimes it's in a powder format. It's extremely painful for the eyes. It's also an irritant to your lungs. But many people can fight through this. For example, when I went to academy, yes, I did have to get pepper sprayed. We had a scenario where you were the officer, you get pepper sprayed, and you had this basically foam pool noodle that was on, and you had a bad guy that's fighting with you, and you had to fight through it. And it turns out when the adrenaline's on, I can fight right through that. And then the hours that followed were horrible. But so it's not very effective for people who are, they've got their adrenaline going. It's even less effective for people that are under the influence. The other thing with pepper spray is it can contaminate a scene and affect other subjects. I have a great story about Sheriff Thurman. I got a little on him when we were fighting with a guy. Once pepper spray,
Did he cry?
He whined.
You won. You don't have a video of that either.
They hadn't invented motion pictures. So after pepper spray is deployed, we have to rinse the subject's eyes out. The effects can last for hours. In fact, that same training scenario when I was in academy back in the previous millennium, 1999, we had a guy, a very pale complected guy. Turned out his entire body was allergic to it. His skin turned red like a lobster for most of the week. So it can have some nasty side effects that last a long time. So these are batons, and I snuck one in here just to show the kind that we usually carry. I won't pass these around because lawyers say that's liability. This is something that we can carry and deploy it. It'll fit on our belt, and we can collapse it down. Thank goodness that worked. Would have been embarrassing. And these are not, you see videos of, somebody being clubbed. We target major muscle groups with these. And the other primary thing that we target is hands. So if people are trying to throw punches at us, these work great for helping to stop that. Many of us still carry the collapsible type. Some of our folks will have like a longer one that they can use for more leverage. So one of the things we can do with these is when we have somebody that is resisting arrest and they're not wanting to go into handcuffs, if we have them on the ground and they reach under their waist, that's a real common area to hide a weapon. We worry about that. So with one of these, we can pry it behind their arm and force that arm out safely so that we can get them safely in handcuffs where they can't hurt us and they can't hurt themselves. So it's a tool for
Could you get
a lot of
one right on my
things.
brother?
Yes.
Okay.
Somebody in demonstration.
No. So yeah, we can tuck that in and pry an arm out if somebody is not removing their arms. So this is another newer thing that we've done in the last 20 years. These are called beanbag shotguns. So these are equipped with bright colored hardware furniture, if you will, and markings to indicate that they are less than lethal tools. So this one is marked less lethal. It has orange furniture on it. So these are 12-gauge shotguns that have been converted to fire a beanbag munition, which is the item on the left there. It's like a little sock, and it literally has those little bean pellets in it. Beanbag munitions allow more separation between the officer and the suspect, so if you have somebody that's armed with a knife or something like that, you can use these in an effective range of about 15 to 60 feet. If you get too close, you're going to cause more injuries, so you have to have that setback. But they allow multiple deployments, so you may be able to deploy 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it takes to get compliance. And they're a cost-effective option. These rounds are pretty inexpensive.
So do you tell them to back up from
They're always good. Yes.
50 feet?
Back them up.
Yeah, we have to hold the other end of the tape measure.
Yeah.
Now,
Here, can you take this one?
Now, while these are converted for less lethal use, they could still fire a lethal round. It still shoots 12-gauge ammunition. So we and other agencies, through policy, procedures, and series of controls, we have to ensure that we don't have any lethal 12-gauge rounds. So that is a huge downside of these. There was an incident in Portland where an officer thought he was firing less lethal rounds, but he had buckshot. So that's why we've scoured our whole office. Every inventory, we ensure that there are no lethal rounds for 12 gauge in any of our vehicles. This is a neat one. This is something that I've been working on getting more of over the years, trying to equip as many patrol officers as I can. This is the 40mm launcher platform. And it's a vastly improved, less lethal tool. Barrel's rifled, it's much more accurate, and it just delivers a bigger payload. On patrol, our deputies tend to have two munitions options. That is what we call a foam baton, and the other is a frangible OC, or only resin capsicum. Our SWAT operators, they have a different type of round they can use than a penetrating round, and I'll talk about that in a bit. So these are our foam baton rounds. These are soft rubber tip. They're designed so that they generally don't break the skin, don't cause significant injuries, they'll cause some bruising. It feels like getting hit by a baseball. And when somebody is fighting or they won't drop a weapon, it tends to cause a change of behavior. So the accuracy is greatly improved over the beanbag shotgun munitions. And these have an effective range of 0 to 150 feet. So they're still safe right up to contact. If somebody is trying to tackle you as you're trying to get a shot off, you won't kill them. Yeah, we try not to. It tends to be a lot more paperwork and a whole lot of problems. So again, these can go all the way out to 150 feet. They're very accurate. We had a subject take over a building in the Port of Kalama. He had done a series of burglaries and had done a home invasion where he tied up the victim. And it was actually a crush nose one I'll show you next. He was up on a walkway running through this industrial building, and they were able to take it down from these for quite the distance. So this is the other one our patrol officers have. It's called a frangible OC munition, or a crush nose. That orange tip there is kind of like almost like the candy shell on an M&M. It's designed to break on impact and release a powder. It's that same pepper spray compound, but in a powder form. So we can deliver one of these. It will deliver that powder, and it will irritate the eyes and the lungs and help get somebody to comply with our orders. It delivers a lot more of that powder than other platforms. And again, has a effective range of 0 to 150 feet. This gives us a lot of stand-up options. You know, when you have somebody with a knife, they can cover ground very quickly. You have to see that they're doing it, react to it. This gives you distance, time, distance, and shielding. Go ahead.
Is this pepper spray better or more than the other one that you were talking about?
It's more like a powder airborne, so it will go different places, but it won't go too far. They all work to a degree. Now these are the last type of 40 millimeter rounds that we have for this platform. And these are only issued to our SWAT officers who are certified with this launcher for this purpose. So this is kind of specialized. These are rounds that can be used to break through windows, and they can penetrate inside a building and stick like into the sheetrock so that it can deliver either CS or OC, gas or powder, or a mix of the two. So if we have somebody who's armed, barricaded, and refusing to come out, we can convince them. It's always better to get them to come out than for us to go in.
What is CS?
I can't remember the well, I need somebody to ask. It's another type. It's similar to pepper spray, but much, much stronger. And
Rick's curious if you use it.
but
On cars driving by through fast, right?
so these are again just used to deploy that gas or powder. The goal, like when we're on a SWAT mission, so I'm one of our assistant commanders for the SWAT team. We always want to try to convince them to come out. If we can't convince them with words, we use our tools. We try to get them to leave that structure because they have the advantage. They have the home field advantage. We don't know what's inside. All of our risks go up greatly if we have to go inside.
This goes through the window, but not the wall.
It will stick in the wall so that it doesn't just bounce around the house. And that's to deliver that, that compound. So makes it hard to stay barricaded when you're coughing and hacking and your eyes are tearing and snot's going everywhere. So these are very effective. We lost the ability to use these for a brief while, and I'll want to talk about that again. So this is a neat tool. I don't know if you've seen our deputies with these, but we have several on patrol, and this is called the Pepperball platform. It's a lot like a paintball gun, but it does run at a higher pressure, and it has very different munitions. So this uses compressed air to launch paintball-sized munitions. The need for this device arose when the legislature passed some really bad stuff. They passed a use of force bill to reform what we could do, and it had a lot of unintended repercussions. And one of the restrictions was that we can't use firearms 50 caliber or greater. That beanbag shotgun is greater than 50 caliber. And the 40 millimeter, I don't do the metric to US conversion very well, but it's much bigger than 50 caliber. And both of those use a primer charge to fire a projectile, thereby meeting the Washington State definition of a firearm. We couldn't use them. We told them, hey, don't do this. You're gonna leave us with hands-on and lethal force and not much in between. And they didn't listen. And one of our greatest examples of that, shortly after those restrictions went in, we did not have the means to deploy gas to a barricaded subject who had committed multiple crimes against his family, was refusing to come out, and we didn't have, the only way to deploy gas would be to go up and hand deliver it in, and he was in a position of advantage. And one of our SWAT operators was assaulted, The subject got his fingers inside his eye socket and behind his eyeball. And I used that to lobby. I talked to every media outlet that I could. I gave interviews with everybody, and I gave them the law that was passed. I gave them the definitions for what a firearm was and why we couldn't use these devices. And I gave them diagrams to explain how they worked. And it worked. They confronted several different members of our legislature about it. And when they said, well, that's not what we did, they would show them what they did. And eventually, we got that changed. It's much more reasonable now. So we had a lot of support from the public. We had a lot of elected officials and law enforcement leaders involved in that effort. We continue to use this device because these are something great that kind of came out of that bind that we were in. These are easy to service. We have a tank. Our instructors can repressurize all these little tanks that are connected on the front there. You know, basic routine cleaning. We have red dot sights on these. If you have a paintball hopper, funny story. Those are just as lousy as a regular paintball game hopper. One of our young deputies, we were coming back from a crazy call, and she got a flat tire, and a bunch of us showed up to help her. And because we're good at stuff. We popped her trunk open, and we all started coughing and hacking. And
Oh no.
Deputy before her had one of these pop open, and all the little rounds fell out the side, and there's a good quarter inch of that powder there. We just kept picking it up. And we could. It only took us like 10 minutes to figure this out. So these are some of the munitions that the pepper ball fires. We have a variety of options, even inert ones. Inert ones, when you get hit with a paintball, it gets your attention. It's not fun. Stings a little bit. They have a synthetic compound called PAVA. It's similar to OC, similar effect. It's an irritant. It will make you sneeze. And that is what's very different. So that stuff in the trunk of that vehicle, 3 deputies just sneezing their guts out on the side of the road. They even have a glass breaking round. So if we need to introduce some of this compound into a vehicle or a house, we can break the window out with a glass breaking round. Pepper ball can be deployed as a direct impact munition, meaning we can shoot somebody in the leg with it, that powder rises up and affects them. Or we can use it for area saturation. So if somebody is charging at you, you can step back and shoot rounds into the ground ahead of them. And they're walking into a cloud of that PAVA powder. It tends to change their direction. So pepper ball is a good option for suspects who barricade in vehicles. Occasionally we get drunk drivers that have wrecked and they don't want to come out of their vehicle. And we're trying not to get in a fight with a car that they might be able to drive off with us hanging out the window. These are great options. So we're keeping these around. And then the last gadget I'll talk about, the most fun one, everybody loves these. The commissioners always ask when they're going to get theirs. The taser.
Budget time, you say you're going to get it.
Well, they tell me this every time they approve something I want in the budget. They're waiting for their tasers. So we've had these in various forms for over 20 years at the Sheriff's Office. They use very low amperage current and launchable darts to create neuromuscular incapacitation. This new one that we have, if you see there's 10 shiny spots there on the cartridge. Each of those is a dart with a long lead. It goes out to 45 feet, a tiny little conductive cable. 45 feet. You have to make a connection of at least 2 darts for it to conduct that, current and cause neuromuscular incapacitation. Previous generations would only go out to 25 feet. And the other thing with them was they had a 2-dart system. Each cartridge, you only got 1 chance, and they were angled slightly apart. So the way these work is, the more muscle groups between the darts, the more are affected by that current. If we missed with one, or if one got hung up in clothing, they didn't work at all. So this gives us up to 10 shots. So the taser is also a bit of a mini computer. It logs a lot of things. It will keep track of activations, the number of darts fired, how long the taser was activated, and other information. And these are highly serviceable. So having one. This is our cartridge. So instead of disposable 2-shot at once cartridges, we have 10. And they do come out. Try to show you what these look like. Your fingernails are a little short.
How
Anyways.
old let you demonstrate?
Could you try it on now?
Watch the volunteers.
We'll pay.
Maybe next presentation.
We won't tell anybody.
So these are what we use, and we can, deputy, if he has a deployment, ends up using 3 or 4 of these, if the guy's on the run and a couple miss, I mean, it's real easy to reload these and we're back in service. Then it does a couple other cool things. So it's got a little,
Turn the lights out.
no, you won't need to. So there's a little bit of, hey, we mean business.
Yeah.
That tends to get people's attention. So,
That's
yeah,
it.
you'll hear this. If you walk to the sheriff's office at any shift change, you'll hear. They love you. It reminds me of Ghostbusters. Same principle. So, yeah, this has advanced a lot. We had our crime reduction team. They set up a deal where they bought a whole lot of drugs from a couple drug dealers. One of them fled, and this thing worked great. That guy had a good 10-yard lead on the deputy, but he was able to, within 3 shots, he was able to get 2 darts and took him down right away.
You didn't run fast.
But I do want to address some common taser myths. Contrary to what you see on television, I know, it doesn't knock you out. So for every TV show you've seen where they do a contact tase on the guy and he crumbles to the ground and he's out, and they, I don't know, steal everything from his hotel room or whatever, that's not how it works. The taser has a electrical current, super low amperage. It's kind of a pulse type current. It's designed to lock up your muscles. It only affects your neuromuscular system. It doesn't affect any of your central nervous system, your breathing, your heart. None of that's affected.
Can you prove around town?
Yeah, but I won't.
Sure want to.
So,
I'm going to Kiwanis.
so the other part of that is, so when we deploy the taser, we have to move into handcuff while that current is active. So the taser has to be active for them to be incapacitated in any way. And again, the greater the spread of muscles, so ideally if you could get one in the thigh, one in the shoulder, it's going to hit all the muscles in between.
How does that current not transfer to you while you're cutting?
Very carefully. You try not to get your hands between the probes, but sometimes you get a little of the juice. There was a Kelso arrest one of our guys helped out with when the tasers were early, and they thought it was the suspect's arm. So it does happen, and the good thing is
Rubber gloves.
recovery from a taser deployment is virtually instantaneous. So when we turn that off, we either get one of 2 things. We get compliance, or they are right back in the fight. So that's why we move into handcuff while that deployment is active. They don't electrocute people. They do not electrocute people. So the same way, if any of you ever went to a museum where they have the electricity display, and you got the big metal sphere with 5 million volts. You put your hand on it, and your hair stands up on it. It's because, even though it's super high voltage, it's very, very low amperage, and amperage is the thing that will kill you. It will stop your heart. These are very, very low amperage. They've done all sorts of testing and have really annoying training that we have to watch and know that they've done that. So these are very safe. Of course, everything here that I've talked about has to be used appropriately. I always use the saying, for less than lethal. It means that generally they're not going to result in serious injury or death. But like anything, it has to be used properly. Salad is generally healthy for you, right? If you eat salad, it's good for you. If you try to inhale it, it could kill you. So, it's all about how you use the tool. And finally, I wanted to talk about our use of force reporting. So for every use of force beyond compliant handcuffing, we have to do a use of force reporting. This year, just this last month, was our first month of a new statewide data collection system. It's very onerous. It has been a lot of headaches getting there, and we're doing everything we can to do right by the requirements. It would have required our deputies to do 2 separate reports. So we got a new program. We talked to some other agencies about how they were handling it, and this is part of a software package we already have for our policy and procedure under Lexipol. So we have now a use of force reporting software that the deputies can just do 1 report on. They can attach files to it, and it's got a digital workflow. So every one of these, there's no paperwork printed out. It just goes from one layer of approval to the next. I'll get an email for final approval on these, and I'll go through, make sure all the boxes are checked, make sure everything is good. I'll watch our body cam video, which helps a lot with these. And then we can submit that electronically. And then instead of manually retyping a bunch of reports, these just electronically go to WADEP's program, the State Use of Force Tracking, once a month. So again, all of this is a digital workflow to facilitate the process. Now, a final note on this. One of my jobs for the last several years has been commander of the Lower Columbia Major Crimes Team. We do the officer-involved use of deadly force investigations. And we've taken a number in Clark County, and I think we've only had 10 in the last, well, starting in 2020 with our first case. So some of the stats on use of force, they just did their first month of data collection. So statewide, out of 735,000 calls for service in a 1-month period, there were 82 use of force incidents. That is a 0.01% incident rate of use of force out of all those contacts. Last year, a whole year's worth of data for the sheriff's office, we had approximately 30,000 calls. 35 total use of force incidents, again, about a 0.01% incident rate of use of force. So while we have all these tools, we do everything we can to only use them when they're absolutely needed, and we only use the amount of force that is reasonably necessary to effect an arrest. So I feel that's a very important thing when I go out and talk to the public about, yes, we use force. We use as little as possible. The numbers back that up. So I hope that was a good topic for you guys. I thought I'd do something a little different. So any questions? We have a patrol canine. He's actually going through training right now because his previous handler, Brady Spalding, just got promoted to sergeant. We're very proud of Brady. He's done a lot of great work for our program.
Should they be a terror or not?
That's a whole different day.
There you go.
We tend to do canine presentations all on their own because there's so much to it.
The dog could be me.
Yeah.
Our youngest son is a police officer up in Tacoma, and he related an incident one time where he had a suspect handcuffed. I mean, his hands were behind him, and he took off on him, and he tasered him. Guess what happens? When you're handcuffed behind you and you get tasered.
You lose it.
You're right on your feet.
People, handcuffs are, you put me in a pair of handcuffs, I'm stuck, right? I'm not that flexible.
You can't run backwards.
I had a call in a felony stop on a car where I took the first guy, I handcuffed him, I patted him down, I put him in the back of my car, and we were calling out the rest of the people. When I got back, he had got his handcuffs around the front and was smoking a cigarette in the back of my car. It happened.
Should have offered him a beer.
You guys have any other questions?
Actually, I have one more. It's kind of a pet peeve with me that when there is a fatal shooting the media insists on putting the name of the police officer in the newspaper. I think that is totally, totally wrong and immoral. It's hard enough that a police officer has to do that in the first place, to have the media demand that the public know who it was. That's, in my mind, is ridiculous.
So I always serve as our PIO on any of those cases. And we have a process that we go through. Part of it is, at some point, we have to release that information. So when we do those cases, there's no members of the involved agency involved in the investigation. So we are doing it totally separate. We're not even allowed to give them updates on the progress of the case. They get to find out through the media reports like everybody else, the involved agency. So their boss is kind of in a tough spot. But what we do, we have to release that info at some point. It is considered public information, subject to disclosure. It'll eventually get out. So what we do is we give them time. There's a whole physiological process that happens after a critical incident, and we want to make sure we don't get many interviews anymore. People generally just give us a statement through their attorney with kind of the state of things in Washington State. But we give them time to get through that adrenaline cycle, make sure that when we interview them, we're getting a good, well-informed, thorough interview. And we do not release the officer's name until that process has occurred, because having their name out in the media is going to create a lot of stress and a lot of pressure and people asking questions, because the whole story's not out yet. And we try to get people to understand we can only give you so much at a time. We are still investigating this. Please be patient. And then my team, one of the things we do, we'll put out a video summary of whatever video sources and other evidence we have, and we try to explain things in an unbiased way so that people can understand what that officer or officers were dealing with. Because if you just release, say, video without context, people might not see the things like, we'll highlight where a weapon is in the video, or we'll highlight what's happening. People might not see that. People might come to their own conclusions, which is fine, but we like to inform them of what the trained investigators saw in reviewing that evidence. So we try to do our best. We have a process. We try to make sure that, at least until we get a chance to get an interview or a statement, that they aren't feeling that pressure of having their name out in public.
Still wrong. Should be a law.
With those investigations, when those happen, you mentioned attorneys, is that usually, does the guild have an attorney, and that's usually who they talk to for that then?
Yes.
Okay.
They all have their own bargaining units.
Yeah.
And they'll have an attorney because there's so many things in law enforcement that.
Right. We don't expect every cop to have their own attorney
No,
on their
that's actually pretty rare. They usually have their own department line. Their job is to protect that officer's rights. So even a lot of our life is subject to public scrutiny. We're held to a very high standard. We expect that, but they have the same constitutional rights as any other subject.
Right.
We can't just pull them in and force them to talk. So, go ahead, sir.
Since COVID and then all the riots happening in cities and around the country, a lot more people bought firearms. And so what would you recommend if you got pulled over and you got a concealed carry? What's our local area? What do you guys think of what somebody should do?
You roll down your window, you have your hands on the steering wheel, and you speak to the officer and let them know that, hi, my name is so-and-so, I have a concealed pistol license. And they'll say, okay, is it in the vehicle? Yes, it is. Can you tell me where it is? Don't reach for it. I do it all the time. In fact, this is a good recreational area. We have a lot of people that are gun owners, a lot of hunters, a lot of, that's nothing new to me, and frankly, I really appreciate it when people tell me. And if it's in the same area where your wallet is, we might say, okay, tell you what, why don't you just tell me your name and your date of birth and address, so that you're not reaching, say, in the glove box where the gun also sits. So Just,
That pretty well work for, if you're on a
Yeah.
motorcycle too? I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have a steering wheel.
calm and clear always works best. And you gotta remember, Washington is an open carry state as well. You got people that'll, walking through the grocery store. Fortunately, a lot of them seem to have some of the worst gun retention closer that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They're walking around. But it is legal in Washington State, so we're used to dealing with it.
Why isn't the public and, on the wants and warrants when you run it, that he is authorized to carry a weapon?
There is a different search you can run for concealed pistol license, but remember that generally everybody is authorized unless they've done something wrong. It's your Second Amendment right. So the concealed pistol license is just through your local jurisdiction authorizing you to carry a concealed weapon, except for certain restricted areas like the courthouse or things like that.
Deputy, I know that you have to go out to another meeting, and Madam President, if one last question.
Sure.
Nope. Would you?
All right.
All right.
Sorry to run.
Is that mine? Yeah.
Thank you for adjusting your schedule for me, I really appreciate it.
Before you take off, we have a thank you, or covered it in here. So just an appreciation and thank you for being here and sharing your time with
Absolutely,
us.
I appreciate it. I like that.
Okay, so let's do a quick happy bucks and then we'll get to our announcements.
What about sunshine?
Sunshine, yeah, we're gonna do sunshine, happy bucks and announcements.
Okay.
Cloudy
Sunshine.
out there.
Huh?
It's cloudy.
It was sunshine now. Sunshine report. Mary had her surgery yesterday. She's doing well. She texted me. It sounds like she's home. I'm sure she's in pain, but she had shoulder surgery. And then there's a card back here for Dwayne, for his knee surgery that he had. Was that yesterday or today?
Yesterday.
Yesterday, and I haven't had a report on him. Anyway, other than that, and then what was her name? Cindy. Cindy? Is that her name? Yeah, Cindy. Cindy's having some procedure on her throat, I think it is.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard anything back on her. Other than that, we're all doing well.
Okay, thank you so much. So let's go ahead and start your happy bucks.
Looks like Steve. Mr. Patterson.
All right then. One of the few ladies that sees eye to eye. I have a 5-spot today, President Sharon and Lions and guests. First of all, a salute to the veterans. I know Greg's going to do something that he likes to do every year. We know their sacrifice is why we have the freedoms that we have, and we do appreciate that. The second one is I've had a slight, I had a procedure that put a pacemaker in me, and it feels as though I'm a cross between a Iron Man and the Energizer Bunny. So everyone calls me the Steel-O-Matic.
You'll bother me next week?
Can't read your own writing.
Finally, no.
He's skipping along. You want me to read it to you?
That's good enough. Anyways, I'm glad to be back. I feel great.
Good deal.
But,
You have better color.
Doing marathons now, right?
well, it'll be a while for that.
Short
Yeah. Want to see your
What do
scale?
they call it?
Alan Hansen, our guest from Castle Rock.
I'll just stand quickly here. You have to
President
address it.
Sharon, Father Lyons, and guests.
Which Steve forgot to do, but I didn't say anything.
President Sharon.
Fellow Lyons.
Yes.
Just glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation. And I enjoyed the presentation. I thought it was great.
And I forgot your question.
Becca.
Becca and Hanson. Well, who are you again?
An old has-been.
Past whatever, Mr. Kelly.
Pass. Weekly $5. I'll try to be quickly because I know, or quick because I know we're running late. I want to be gratitude.
It's 15 minutes. We still got 15 minutes.
Well, I want to focus on, as I said last week, gratitude for some Lions thing. Last week it was on Legacy Lions. Several of you weren't here. John rarely hears me say something nice about him. He's sitting next to me, and he missed that last week.
He's gonna have to watch the video.
And I saw Pat Palmer afterwards, and realized he should have been on that list. Another Legacy Lion. It's decades of service to our club and Lions. This week it is our club officers, so I want to thank President Sharon, Vice Presidents Rick, and John, Secretary Katie, who isn't here, our treasurer, Karen is here, immediate past president, Karen Ann's not here, but all the other lion tamers, tail twisters, stand-in. Thank you for your service. I spent decades on the board, and I know it really does make the club run, so thank you for your service. Thank you to the veterans. Also, thank you to those that stepped up last week. Like I talked to Pat last week, he reminded me, because he had a bunch of coats to donate. Lloyd donated some cash. I appreciate that. To anybody else want to make donations to St. Vincent Paul, let me know. Quote of the week from Steve Maraboli. There is beauty in simplicity. There is power in forgiveness. There is wisdom in letting go.
How about John? John Claypool.
Terry has a whole bunch of questions.
How about John?
President Sharon, fellow Lions and guests, got to spend a week down at the coast. It was the fastest week of my life, so that's the bad part. Got to limit the clams between the weathers. That's a good thing. And I'll be wearing a t-shirt showing how I extracted the elusive 5 ounces.
Dale Bradley.
President Sharon, fellow Lions and guests, this is a reminder dollar about Bob's Celebration of Life, November 23rd, which is a Sunday from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Right here.
Gary Woodruff.
Saturday, 22nd, 23rd.
President Sharon, fellow Lions and guests, I've got a couple of happy dollars. First one is for our veterans. Always exciting to see the guys that are still alive that are out there and stuff that we've done, but thank you for your service. The other happy dollar is that yesterday I had my last colonoscopy.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because of my age, they said, well, that's good. And,
You're gonna gouge me anyway,
they didn't want to see your face around here anymore. I didn't know they looked at your face.
It's all behind you now.
President Sharon, fellow Lions and guests, first of all, acknowledging the wonderful veterans in our family, Harold L. Palmer Sr., my brother Harold L. Palmer Jr. Of course, they wouldn't take me because I was far too liberal at that point in my life. No, I had allergies. That was my problem. Where they might have sent me, I would have been allergic to something.
That was a flat brain.
It was the flat brain.
Is it the flat
feet?
Yeah.
That's right. There you go. Past that, it's been kind of an eventful week. I think last week I mentioned that I had a 3/4 inch long rusty nail pulled out of my foot. It's caused some kind of other thing that go on in my body, so everything's trying to fight each other, and especially the antihistamines. So I'm headed in for some more testing this afternoon to find out what's going on. Great third one is a great one to see former Lion Tina Moore And Cooper, you know, I don't know if you remember, but you were this big when you were running around telephone store down there by Home Depot. But great to see you, and wonderful success to you in all of your business dealings. Next to last one, significant other Jerry is headed to Alaska this week. I am supposed to go on Friday, and we're kind of hoping this stuff all fixes itself so that I go to Alaska because it's.
Go see Terry's doctor.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see Terry Tucker. And the fifth one, as always, just love you guys.
Hey. President Sheridan, fellow Lions and guests, I really appreciate the love I received during Troy's presentation. Absolutely. Well, some of you will be remembered.
This is to get him to stop.
Oh, guess you got me to stop.
I do have an over-the-counter taser.
Do you? I see. This is, I gotta say, Troy did a really an interesting presentation because I knew that stupid law had done them damage because I talked to Longview PDs and I said, well, how come you can't do this? It's against the law now. And you go, oh my goodness. And so I'm glad that law has been fixed and they're back at it. I guess the other happy buck is I look around here, seeing Tina barely didn't recognize, I didn't recognize Cooper because you were shorter then, right? A little bit. Yeah. And, you know, it's so good to know that Steve can now run a mile.
Well, still running.
Yeah. But your heart's running a mile, so remember that mile.
He just takes in more steps.
Oh, makes sense.
That's the rest of the weekend. Mike Palmer.
Mike,
We're not Palmer.
please.
Hey, are you the other brother? I'm stuck with the Palmer thing. Palmer, sorry. Let's start with
Fellow
you.
Lions and guests, I bring you a complaint dollar. Not from me.
I was gonna say, it's
From
in
Past
for me
District
already.
Governor Terry Robertson.
Yes.
I had occasion to go down to their meeting Friday, and he said when he made his visitation here, I didn't belong to Pioneer then. When he made his governor's visitation here back in either 96 or 97, when he was governor, he was presented with a mug in the club. It got left here.
Oh, too bad.
He wants it back with interest.
Incidentally, it's your birthday, though.
I think that means.
Right, and by the way, it's my partner's birthday.
Hey, guys. Wait till you tell them we don't have the mugs anymore, they're now glasses.
Yeah.
What's that?
Wait till you tell them we no longer have those mugs, we now have the glasses.
I don't think he wants excuses. He wants.
Happy birthday.
Happy
And many more.
Do we have to do it again? John turned 76 last week.
What?
Friday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Darling, you are growing older.
Spencer.
All right, well, President Chair and fellow Lions and guests, the first is for our veterans. I'll be, Sula, I think I'll see you over there later, 3:30.
Yeah,
What room is that in?
it's gonna be in the chateau dining room,
Which dining room is
the
that?
further one.
Okay, they're the Veterans Program, Veterans Day Program over at Canterbury, the tall one. So that's at 3:30, I'll be there. The other, grateful to be here, the sun is shining, it's blue skies. This was, I've been asked to participate in the calf roping demonstrations at the county fair next year. No, or calf, not rope, dressing, where you put the clothes on.
Yeah.
No, I'm in Wranglers, but I
First of
don't.
all, you have to get
valid dollar, but I'm not gonna give it to him.
No.
Don't make it his name.
Great.
President, Chair, and fellow Lions and guests, a couple bucks today. First one, really happy to see Tina and Cooper here, and I have application for membership with them. The second one is Veterans Day. I think I've made it mention before. When we got out of the service, we weren't very well liked. That was back, because I got out in '69.
You've never changed, Tom.
Everything has changed now. People appreciate us. There's 20 million vets in the United States. Whoa. And with all the vets stand up, please. Yeah.
Jeff Johnson.
Hello.
Johnson.
Enunciation. President Stern.
Yes.
Again, thank you veterans very much. Little side note, I have accepted a position with Heaven Helping Every Veteran in Need to be on their board of directors. Not that I wasn't busy enough, but that's just more honor for our guys, you know?
Yeah.
I wasn't here last week, but the week before, I understand that I'm a pretty fast talker sometimes and cut about bullet points, but I wanted to thank the guys that helped out with their Christmas lights. Then Rick had to, and I said, you know who you are. So we went over to Rick, and Rick named every person that helped him out. It kind of made me look bad. So, completely done inadvertently, I'm certain. But I wanted to thank Bob Piper, John Seary, Dave Venus, Jay Pruitt, Ann Camrata, Marlene Windsor, Cindy Sessions, Steve Patterson, and Rick Johnson for their help in doing wrangling up those lights. I think that's it. I'll do better next time.
Did you find Dave's keys?
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Next week.
Are they in your pocket?
We need to do
Oh,
We still have announcements and we only got 2 minutes.
Go quick.
It's super quick. I'm looking for ideas from the club membership on what to do. Since I have 2 months left, I want to do something with the city in honor of Ken Botero. I'm looking for ideas from club members that serve with him. So please let me know if you have ideas.
Okay.
I think we got everyone. Anyone?
We're gonna breeze through these announcements real quick. Let's go ahead and start with John.
It's President Sharon. Just a reminder, on November 30th, which is the day after Thanksgiving, or weekend, Sunday after Thanksgiving, we're going to be doing the Jumbo Toy Run. And we're going to meet at the Elks at 12:15. And it'll probably be all over by 1:30. So they're going to send out the electronic sign-ups next week, but start thinking about it. Thank you.
Steve?
President Sharon, Lions and guests, I know it's a month away, but on your calendars, we are tentatively December 8th for Roar for Reading. We're going to have a morning session and an evening session, or an afternoon session. And that is a Monday, so it's unusual for us. I'll have a sign-up sheet shortly, or briefly.
December 8th. Great.
President Sharon, fellow Lions and guests, tomorrow evening, 6:30 in Canterbury Park is our our monthly Sight and Hearing Foundation meeting. Anybody more than welcome to join us, see what we do. And for some oddball reason, we're not getting as many applications as we used to before COVID. But, you know, anybody needs hearing aids or glasses and cannot afford them, let Jane or I know so we can get in touch with them.
Jeff?
All right. President Sharon, Against once again. Christmas is getting close, so Friday at 9 o'clock, we've got a plan. Be there with Dad's Truck and Trailer. Rick is kind enough to show up with his big old trailer. We're gonna run some decorations at the lake, so hopefully shouldn't take too long. But 9 o'clock at the shop, and all are welcome. Rain or shine. Yes, right. Yes, right.
Sure. I'd love to. President Sharon of the Alliance of Guests, Tuesday on the 20th is our...
Thursday.
No, Thursday. Our nightly meeting is at Ashtown, and hope to see you all there.
With guests.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then our board meeting is Thursday, the 13th at 8 a.m. and like, oh,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
As the awards, our President Sharon told us, yes, as the awards chairman, not everybody shows up when the awards are given out. In this case it is today, we have an unsung line of the month for September. Gal that shows up at a lot of the work that we do with the wagons and the popcorn and everything like that. It doesn't really get recognized for it because she's sort of in the background. So anyway, Carol Scott for unsung line of the month.